Welcome back. My name is Kit.
I'm Phil. And I'm Steve.
And this is Streaming Things, a podcast about TV shows and film properties. This time, we're streaming Star Wars.
Hello there.
By the way, can I have a time machine? Because
Sure.
Oh my goodness.
To what end?
Because each of the series that we do, I could have called them streaming blah, blah, blah. And that could be the title. That could be the title. So like this is streaming Star Wars. And then it's streaming things, streaming Fallout. And you know, I mean, like it's right there. But yeah, we're on Revenge of the Sith, baby. Episode 3, but the 6th film to come out. Try to keep up with George Lucas. He's too smart for you. And looking forward to next week starting the much beloved sequel trilogy. Diehard Star Wars fans all over the world just waiting with bated breath to discuss those gems.
The real ones, no.
Especially my valued opinions on which ones are better. But we're going to talk about our history with this film, what it was like watching it this time, and then do a scene-by-scene, play-by-play recap, and then cap it all off with a couple little games. Like we're going to give this movie an award, what it does better than any of the other films in the franchise, as well as rank all of the Star Wars films that we've seen so far. But the shtick there, the catch, is that we have to agree on the ranking. This has to be the official streaming Star Wars ranking. Yes, I'm going to make that happen like Fetch. I'm going to keep saying it until it's the new brand. Streaming Star Wars.
Streaming Star Wars.
Low-hanging fruit.
Star Wars things.
I can't believe I walked by that apple, just a dangling shoulder level my
Streaming
whole life.
Wars. Streaming Wars?
You don't want to be too clever because that hurts SEO. You know?
Streaming war things?
Yeah.
Wow. That is good.
Like that. Yeah, very good. Yep. T-shirt time.
Hire him to write copy, folks. Yes, we are on Revenge of the Sith. You can email the show at streamingthingspod@gmail.com. You can go to streamingthingspod.com to find all of our old wonderful episodes and everything that we've ever done there pretty much. You can also support the show at patreon.com/streamingthings at a variety of tiers to help us keep the lights on, keep the monitors, well, most of them on, and contribute to us sticking around, but also in the process receive many and sundry wonderful awards and rewards. You will get no awards. No prizes are awarded for this.
No. But if you guys, listeners, if you look into the show notes in this episode and all the episodes going forward, so today and now, you will find a brand new link to our new merch store.
Ooh.
For streaming things. That's right. Go to the show notes. It'll take you to a brand new website with all sorts of brand new streaming things merch. The merch team at West River Printing Company, they did an amazing job coming up with a ton of new designs. There are new hats, new hoodies, new shirts. Everything is new and everything must go. So go on there, check it out, get yourself some merch if you want. So yeah, if you want some cool streaming things merch, go check that out.
We need to do undies.
What kind of undies you want?
All of them.
Your face in the crotch?
Just all of them. Because I want to see the mods panicking in Discord when like Ruben's posting his new streaming things thong and shit. Like, technically this is not okay, but also it's relevant.
Yeah. As long as Ruben's wearing the wig.
Keep the wig on.
The wig stays on.
That's right. But as always, we're going to start everything off with everybody's favorite segment, the Mad Libs.
Ooh, it's Mad Libs time, baby.
You're so angry.
Ooh, I'm so angry. No one made me the rank of master, so what I'm going to do is torture you all with the Mad Libs. Are you guys ready to give me the words, put the pen to the paper to make a story based off this official Star Wars Mad Lib booklet?
I would want nothing more.
Yes.
Kit, you're going first today.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Mittens.
Give me.
Yeah.
You can't say mittens now. I need an adverb.
Lustily.
Phil, give me a noun.
Lust.
Let's just try to conjugate it every time.
Right. Part of the body, plural.
Nipples.
Okay. Part of the body, plural. Balls.
It took you that long to come up with
I was
balls?
like trying to come up with like something else, but I was like, there's nothing.
I know I'm gonna edit out the pause, but I really need listeners to know you sat there for like 30 seconds and then came out with balls.
I was trying something more creative, couldn't come up with it.
I get it. It was the fallback.
Yeah.
Kit, I need a noun.
Rope.
Phil, give me an adjective.
Wet.
Noun.
Cushion.
We're going off brand here. Adjective.
Soft. You're softer than sand, my lady.
Oh, Anakin, there's something you must know. Praggers. Kit.
Yes.
Adjective.
Adjective. Sticky.
Part of the body, plural.
Boobs. Good. Boobs and butts.
BEWBS.
Yeah.
Bubes.
With a Z.
With Z.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me bubes.
There you go. Let me cross out boobs.
We are like 40.
We are 40, but we are 13 at heart.
Can't give me a plural noun.
We got to go lips.
Verb ending in ing.
Thrusting.
Adjective.
Squishy.
Phil, I need another part of the body, singular.
Jesus. Cheek.
Adjective.
Moist.
Adjective.
Erotic.
Adjective.
Serendipitous.
Just saw Steve panic trying to spell that.
I think I did pretty
It
well.
was very subtle, but I could tell.
Serene dip itis. Plural noun.
Chains.
Like your whips and chains
Like the-
excite me.
Like the ones that Alice finds themselves in.
Yes.
Okay. This is the last one, Kit. Make it a good one. Adjective.
Adjective. Dirty.
All right, fiends, stay tuned to the end of the episode to see what story Kit and Phil have crafted together with the words they have provided.
Well, let's get into it, folks. I'm really excited to hear because this is kind of where things turned. This is like the quickest and easiest one to love. Looking back at the prequel trilogy, even though we've got plenty to love in the first two films, the first one for sure. I think that Revenge of the Sith is where things took a turn for you guys. I would imagine. I don't know, but I'm excited to hear. So, Phil, what was it like watching this movie for the first time in 2005? And then what was it like panicking and watching it at 1.5 speed last night?
No, I didn't watch it in well, I did watch a few scenes in 1.5 speed.
The truth comes out.
Just lie.
I know the bad scenes, so I just want to get through them. No, I went with Steve. This was the first Star Wars movie that hit the big screen since we had met, Steve, because we didn't know each other during episode 2. That was like the year before we met.
Right.
So I went with you to the midnight showing. You, me, a few friends.
Dupree.
My dad.
My mom was there too.
Your mom was there. Yeah.
Carol.
Carol
She
made
Phil's
a
date.
Yeah.
what?
Carol jokes. No,
Did you fuck my mom?
but
I fucked your dad. No, I'm kidding.
I hope he doesn't listen to this.
Chuck, call me.
No, the movie, I remember we got there pretty early before the show and there were some shenanigans.
A lot of shenanigans.
We did the Vulcan salute at the crowd at one point.
Live long and prosper.
Yeah.
Classic Star Trek joke.
Just to
be
see if we
trolls.
could rile them up. No one cared. No one cared.
We were
phasers to fuck them up.
Exactly.
No, set the phasers to fun.
Set the phasers to fun.
And then our buddy, he tried to take a picture of the crowd. Like he went down like in front of the screen.
Like with one of those wind-up cameras you'd have to take to the pharmacy.
It was like a digital at that point, but it had like a
Point
built-in
shoot.
flash. Yeah. And he went down on one of the sides to just take a picture of the room because it was a momentous occasion and whatever. And he tried to take it. It didn't take. He pressed the shutter a few more times. It still did not take. He turned it around to look at it. And in that moment, it took. So it flashed him straight in the face from like 6 inches away. And it made him like double back. Like
He did like a Muppet pratfall.
yeah. And he hit the wall. And it made a sound. And the entire room erupted in laughter. It was the funniest. It was just like, that's just classic John.
We haven't seen him since.
No.
He died
left
that
town.
night.
He
Yeah.
immediately walked into the sunset and was never seen nor heard from again.
So that was amazing. And then, when we watched the movie, I remember, and I guess I'll talk about more about this when we get into it, but like this movie legitimized the last two. It was worth sitting through 4 hours of that to get to this, because I think the payoff here is good. And I remember enjoying it so much that the next day I went home and I tried to find it on BitTorrent or LimeWire or whatever. And I ended up downloading a beheading video because it was 2005. So thanks for that, shitty people on the internet.
But it was called Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. So they knew that people would be trying to get that.
Was it not Dooku?
No, it was Iraq War.
Oh, I thought it was just Anakin cutting Dooku's head off.
No.
I'm kidding.
So eventually I did find the right file and I got the movie, and I remember I burned it to a DVD. I think I gave you one.
You did give me one.
And that's how we watched it. Like we watched it many times as a result of that. And I mean, I did go back to see it a few more times on the big screen just because it's fun.
Yeah. That you gave me that DVD, and I watched this movie like on a loop that summer it came out, because I would go see it in the theater. We worked at the movie theater at the same time too. Yeah. So like, what are we doing today? Let's go watch Revenge of the Sith for the 9th time.
Yeah.
And then when I go home, I'll pop in the DVD and watch it again, just because like
it was just,
I loved it.
It was just such a release. Like, goddamn, like the last two didn't meet expectations. This one did. And it was just like, oh, this is great. Like, we finally have a prequel movie that is worth watching over and over again. So I just remember feeling so good about the movie and enjoying it, and enjoying there was an episode 3 game that came out too during that time that was really good. And we played that
all the time.
Yeah, it was super fun. So good movie. Enjoyed it back in 2005. Enjoyed it yesterday when I watched it midday. So
what about you, Steve?
I really, really enjoy this movie. I think it is a imperfect movie. Like, there's a lot of, nits I can pick about this movie, especially like the first half of the movie, I think is a little bit still in that sort of like, we're having a goofy time. Let's have the battle droids be like jokes. And, but overall, I think it's really good. One thing I really, really appreciate about this movie is I remember being like, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, playing with my Star Wars action figures. It was probably in that magazine, Star Wars Insider, but I remember reading somewhere that Darth Vader was in the suit, and he was the way he was because at one point he and Obi-Wan Kenobi had a lightsaber fight, and Darth Vader fell into a volcano. And that's why, he's all burnt up and gross, and he's in the suit to survive. So in my head, that was always like, oh man, I really wish I could see Obi-Wan and Darth Vader in his prime fight on a volcano. And this movie delivers that. Like, that scene is a delivery of something that I had held in my brain for my entire childhood up until I was 17 when this movie came out.
Yeah.
And this movie came out at such a great time for me because it came out in 2005. It came out the week I graduated from high school.
Oh shit, it did. Yeah.
So like within a week I had prom, I had after prom, which may not mean a lot to a lot of people, but if you grew up in Milford, Ohio, after prom's the tits.
Yeah.
And then I graduated, and then Revenge of the Sith came out, and it was all in 1 week. So it was like a week of like riding high, like I finished high school. Who wants to touch me?
The world is my oyster.
Right.
Yeah.
And then working at the movie theater and like knowing you, I finally have like a friend who's like as big a Star Wars fan as I was.
Yeah.
So it was like just this perfect storm. So there's a lot of, wonderful memories I have tied up with this movie because of when it came out. And also at the time, there was a lot of stuff feeding into this movie leading up to it. So there was a ton of comic books that were like kind of illustrating what the Clone Wars were, because when you look at the prequel movies, you don't really see the Clone Wars.
You see the beginning
at all. You see the very like tip off of it, and you see the kind of puttering out of the ending of it.
Yeah.
But you don't see the height of it. You don't see like the camaraderie that comes up from it. You don't see a lot of like the background Jedi characters. They have fleshed out stories that were all written in these comic books and novels and cartoons that were actually coming out in between these movies. So when Order 66 happens, that scene hits all the time for me, even when this movie came out, because I had a connection with those characters that if you just watch the movies, you're not going to necessarily have that connection.
Right.
And they were like really promoting General Grievous as this like really awesome character. So I was super hyped to see him in live action because his cartoon debut in the Tartakovsky Clone Wars is fucking awesome. And he's so rad, but he's not as rad in the movie, but he's still like a fun character.
Still pretty rad.
Yeah, he's still pretty rad. Okay, all right, I'll be honest. He's still pretty fucking rad.
Yeah.
But that's really cool. And this movie looks beautiful. Like it's all CGI, and the CGI I think looks pretty good. There are a couple like
markedly better than the last one.
Yeah, there's a couple like, oh, you're clearly in a CGI hallway, but a lot of like the backgrounds of Coruscant, the way they kind of color the skyline like dark green when things are going bad. It looks great. Like this is the best looking prequel film by a mile. It's a prequel film that actually has some heart in some of the scenes that land and drama. But again, there are things that we will pick, like nits I will pick, and we'll do that in the recap for sure. It's not a perfect movie.
No.
I think George Lucas still doesn't know how to write a love story or a female character to save himself.
No.
The shit they do to Padme in this movie is damn near a war crime and against the Geneva Conventions. But I think they do right by the characters of Palpatine, Obi-Wan, and Anakin Skywalker the best in this movie as opposed to any of the others. But Kit, I'm interested to see what you think about Revenge of the Sith.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
I don't have a memory of watching this movie when it came out. I must have. I do have like this foggy, I don't know if I made it up, but like I feel like I was in a theater and when R2-D2 covers the droids in oil and sets them on fire, I feel like people stood up and clapped.
Stood up and clapped?
Yeah, I feel like that was a cheer moment.
I remember that being a cheer moment.
But I don't actually
I remember it being a good moment, but I don't.
They were so hyped to see R2-D2 fuck people up.
We all knew he could do it, right? Like deep down, we all knew that droid's killed people. R2 would have killed the younglings if he could have.
And like that buzz droid, no chance against my guy. This movie's still massively flawed.
Yeah,
and we'll get into it, no doubt. But yeah, I cried. You know, I feel like I tweeted last night. People were angry-ish, but I said, imagine how good this movie would be if Anakin's turn was believable. And that's how I feel.
Because he goes from conflicted, like, oh, I don't trust the Jedi, like, I'll kill kids, like, on a dime.
Yeah. I love you guys, but I'm upset you didn't give me a raise. And then I think there's murdering all the children. Though. I can't wait to argue with you about it.
All right, fair.
I'm hyped. Fair.
I do think the prequels would have benefited. And obviously, there would have to be some major story restructuring for this to work. But I do think that episode 1 should have been kicking off the Clone Wars. Episode 2 is like the middle of the Clone Wars. And then episode 3 is this. So you can...
Because like some young Anakin flashbacks.
What if like episode 1 was like sort of like a short film about like how they met him, like just like a montage of essentially this is how they met. This like we're going to breeze past like the first 20 years of his life though, and then begin with essentially the story of episode 2, but do episode 2 right, and then fill in the gaps between what is episode 2 and 3, like essentially. Keep 3 where it is, shift the story of episode 2 back to 1. And then the new episode 2 could be this, like the tale of fighting that war and essentially like spend more time with him as an adult and like to like see how he, like how the dark side simmers beneath the.
And much more time with he and Padme, which is like the crux of this story and you get nothing of it. I think if
they really need some time for the relationship between several characters to really cook.
And him and Obi, like you get a hints of all these adventures.
Even he and Palpatine. Yeah.
Like exactly. It's all like all of the most important relationships are just glossed completely over in this trilogy and yada yada in exposition. And it drives me insane because I'm so curious, like what happened on Nemoidia or whatever that Obi-Wan is joking about. Is that what it's called? That is, he's joking about.
Cato Nemoidia, yeah.
Not that time in Cato Nemoidia. That doesn't count.
Doesn't count.
And I, you know, all that shit's really interesting to me. But there is some beautiful sequences in this film. There is some stuff that really does work. It's just kind of sad when you think about in the abstract how operatic and amazing this story is. And then in execution, I do feel like it's bite-sized. And I would have loved it. I honestly don't even know that any amount of movies could have told this story correctly. And
that's true.
If Lucas had sold this and this was just being told for the first time today, well, that'd be trash. But let's assume maybe it was on HBO or something, and you got like a 4-season, 10 episode each. To tell it like a Breaking Bad of this. It would be amazing. It would be so like, no. And you know, even though you know it's coming.
You were the chosen one.
Because, you know, with Walter White, you got to see all these gradual turns and decisions that he's made.
So when he kills the younglings, it's believable.
Exactly. I'm the one who... Master White, there's too many of them. I'm the one who knocks.
I saw Walter White killing yinglings.
The beers. Yeah. Well, now it's time for the play-by-play. Let's dig right in and go back to a galaxy far away in 2005.
A long time ago.
I mean, life was... this is almost 20 years ago, folks.
Ow.
At the time of this recording.
Why do you hurt me?
Almost 22 decades. 2 decades is how long it's been almost. But anyway, we get the opening crawl. War. What is it good for?
Absolutely nothing.
And what if it just said that? That'd be amazing.
The best crawl ever.
I'm curious why
that's it.
Lucas wrote heroes on both sides. Who is the hero on the side of the separatists?
Well, and then again, they don't get into this into the movie at all, but there are people on the separatist side who are fighting like they think the Senate is corrupt and they're doing honestly what's best for their planet. And they're
I mean, knowing what we know, are the separatists that bad?
No.
Other than like the council's pretty bad, but like...
Yeah, the corporate greedy guys, but
it's headed by a Sith Lord who's refusing to give up. Even Padme says, oh, no, I'm worried we're fighting on the wrong side. And he's like, shut up.
He's like, are we the baddies?
No, we're not the baddies. No.
And honestly, I didn't say this in my overall review, but I do want to plug this real quick. I think one of my top 3 favorite lines in all of Star Wars is in this movie.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
And I got chills.
Does it have to do with thunderous applause?
It does.
Yep.
It does. Also, I know I'm going through the crawl, but quick note, I was a little confused about a huge plot point of this. Is the rank of Jedi, there is Padawan, there is Jedi Knight, and then there is Jedi Master?
Yes.
I mean,
well, there's Adept as well, right? Which is between Padawan and Knight. Or at least that's how...
It's like an adolescent Padawan.
Yeah.
Teenager Padawan.
Yeah.
Let me verify, but you got the gist.
Because there's this whole bit about him not being promoted to Master, but you guys said he was promoted between movies.
So an adept is just as a type of Jedi, sort of like a Jedi Sentinel is a type of Jedi. Like that's the role, but the rank is Padawan, Knight, Master, and then there's also Jedi Consular.
What's that?
I don't know. There's Youngling.
Of course.
Grandmaster.
Oh. Who's a Grandmaster? Yoda?
That would be Yoda. Yeah,
that's it?
Yeah, Yoda's the Grandmaster.
You have to be a specific race that can live for so many centuries to achieve that.
I mean, it helps that he's 100 plus years old.
Imagine how awful Supreme Court term limits are for judges, and imagine if the Supreme Court justice was Yoda, who can live to be 900 years.
Yeah,
like I'm never going to die.
Versus Wade Rowe. It'd be a nightmare to talk to.
Yeah, like you would need to have a scholar that can like translate his legal research and findings.
Yeah.
But yeah, it talks about Grievous in the opening crawl. And then, of course, we're in space when it's done crawling. And we get a really cool dynamic space battle where we're informed that the Chancellor has been kidnapped by General Grievous. And 2 Jedi Knights are going to rescue him, which is, of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. And there's one crawling with vulture droids, right? I love that. I like to imagine that none of the clones had names and Obi-Wan Kenobi gave them all names. So the one he called one Oddball. And then later he's like Cody.
Yeah.
Like the difference in their names is kind of wild.
It is fun. So and this is something that the Clone Wars TV show kind of expands on, is that the clones develop their own unique personalities and traits and stuff. And some of them are like into punk rock mohawks, and others are like Commander Cody, who's like, I'm just here.
Yeah.
Call me Cody. But some of them got some wild names.
Oddball.
There's Oddball, Fives.
I got drunk at one party. Now I'm Oddball.
Yeah. I don't really like that he keeps calling me that, but he's the general. So
they're flying.
I don't know why he can't just call me Mike.
They're flying like X-wings with a twist. There's
Arc 170s, baby. I love the ship designs. I think episode 3 has my favorite ship designs in all of the Star Wars.
Better than the Naboo cruiser?
Oh, really?
So the Jedi Starfighter that Obi-Wan and Anakin find themselves in this opening scene is maybe my favorite fighter in all of Star Wars. I fucking love that ship so much. It's like so tiny and looks so fast and quick and fun. And I love that. And then you get all the Venator Star Destroyer was so cool. The Confederacy, I can't remember what the two different type of Confederacy battleships are, but those look dope.
Don't like their names, but
the Tri-Droids, Vulture Droids, Buzz Droids. Man, I just love all the ships here.
I wanted 30 more minutes of this. You know how I am with like
space
battle shit. I live for this shit. And I remember when we were watching this for the first time, just being like, because it's like a faux tracking shot. And it's just so fun to just feel like you're like zooming in and out of this battle between ships and all that. Like, I just wanted like 30 more minutes of this, just nonstop. But
we get a kitchen sink in this scene. There's like a shot when like a piece of something blows up and the camera tracks a piece of debris that flies up and hits the Star Destroyer. That's like they animated that as it's a kitchen sink that they animated like fire around, and they added that in because the animators were told to throw everything in the kitchen sink at the scene. So they literally put in a kitchen sink as like a joke.
It should have been an ice cream machine.
It should have been. It was Wilbur Hood. That was his origin story.
Space.
Wilbur Hood was in that ship, and then the ice cream machine popped in. He's like, I will make my whole life about this.
We also saw one of the clones without his ship anymore. Like,
when
that
he
was
blew
rough.
up. Yeah, that's the first time in Star Wars I think we've seen something like that.
Hopefully it was an oddball. I like that guy.
Yeah, hopefully it was just him.
There's also a really cool character moment between Kenobi and Anakin where Kenobi's like, awful, don't worry, nothing too fancy. And then we cut to Anakin, who's doing some very fancy things and giggling, you know, showing that he's arrogant, he's a thrill seeker.
This is where the fun begins.
Yeah. He's having a good time over there. He's what they call, he would be wild style in the Lego movie.
Love that poll.
Yeah, you're welcome. We get buzz droids. We talked about them a little bit. They're just like little parasite, like little ship parasites. And they are tearing apart Kenobi's ship. And he's like, I love how he's just like, I'm done for Anakin. Keep going. You know?
Yeah, like he gives up pretty fast.
And Anakin's like, it's super easy to save you. Nope, I'm going to die. Like, I get the feeling he doesn't want to live anymore. I've been there, you know?
Yeah.
It's like the tiniest obstacle. And he's like, well, I'll miss you.
Well, I guess this is an excuse for me to give up. I love when you step back and think practically, I love how the separatists, the Confederacy of Independent Systems are like, we need a missile. But instead of a missile that just blows up, let's make like the missile full of a bunch of little droids that probably cost $1 million a piece, making this one missile $1 trillion. And it's just a bunch of annoying little goofy ass droids that go, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but they're effective though. So
that's true.
Yeah, they almost kill Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Like R4 gets it. He's done.
Oh, they rip his whole, they scalp him.
Yeah.
And then he does the Astro Droid scream when they throw the piece of his head past.
Yeah.
So that, like, is his voice box in there?
Yeah.
There's a lot of beheadings in this movie.
Yeah, at least 2.
It's dope.
And then a couple limbs.
Yeah.
At least
It's dope.
5 I can think of.
Yeah.
But even R2 even gets in on the action when fighting the buzz droids.
Yeah, you don't fuck with R2.
There is a couple like several lines of dialogue, especially in the first half of the movie, that feel like video game writing, because there's a point where like R2's fighting the buzz droid and it cuts to Obi-Wan's like, R2, go for the center eye for maximum damage.
Yeah.
Like,
It's dumb.
it's kind of silly.
That's dumb. Because he's like panicking, I'm dead, and all of a sudden he's in charge and knows their weakness.
I know what to do.
Yeah, they shouldn't have had that. But he does have one of the coolest moments in the series where he leaps from his ship as it's crashing and draws his lightsaber in midair. It doesn't look perfect, but it's so fucking cool.
It's dope. It's rad.
And like, does Anakin do that? No.
Anakin like takes the time to unbuckle his seatbelt after he lands.
Yeah.
It's almost like the gunslinger that's like, I'll be out there in a minute and taking another shot of whiskey.
Yeah.
I want to give the droids a chance.
Yeah.
But occasionally Obi-Wan does cooler shit than Anakin. And this is
Obi-Wan does some really cool shit in this whole movie.
This is one of those moments.
Yeah.
This is his time to shine. And can I just say, I'm sorry for everything I said about his beard in Attack of the Clones, because it looks
good, right?
immaculate.
Yeah.
It looks like a beautiful sit in this movie.
This is the best Obi-Wan's ever looked. This is my favorite version of Obi-Wan.
Same.
Obi-Wan is my favorite Jedi ever, and it's mostly because of this movie.
Yeah.
Hello there.
I know that.
Yeah.
Then we get some goofy shit with droids that Steve was talking about. That nothing. Like, what is that? What is their
Must have been the wind.
whatever?
It's so
we
weird.
program them to be really stupid. It's just something fun.
I don't mind the little bit of jokes because there's that, you know, they wreck shop with the little battle droids and there's that one that goes like does like a goofy little dying noise, like that's fine. But when you got like the big super battle droids that for some reason have higher pitch voices going like
What that?
Yeah, what that? And then there's like a battle going on and they just saunter into a hangar and they're like, those Jedi better not be around here.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like
I've only got 1 week left until I retire.
Yeah. Episode 1 was like all about like, look at how cool the droids are. And then like with every movie, they're just like, droids. I don't know.
Let's make
like,
them
they're not a
stupid
big deal. Yeah.
It's just
And by this point in the prequels, they're like, they're not the point. They're just background butter to cut through at this point because
butter.
And I know a lot of people like have a very affectionate love for goofy battle droids, but it's never really worked for me ever. I think one of the only battle droid goofy jokes that ever worked on me was in like one of the Clone Wars movies. There's like there's a character that force pushes a battle droid off of a cliff, and as it's flying off the cliff, it goes, "Why?" And that's the only time it ever worked. But most battle droid humor just doesn't work for me.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Roger.
Or when they're in the elevator with a bunch of them, they're just like Roger. Is that
a real thing that happens?
Roger.
Are you gonna?
I was gonna see how long I could go before you guys stopped me.
I was just like, is he really doing this?
Yeah, I was amazed as well.
Yeah.
And then R2 melts those fuckers. That fire. And then Anakin, there's a moment where like, I don't know why they wrote this in, but I enjoy it where Anakin defends R2. Like that's his buddy.
Yeah.
Because Obi-Wan's like, that dumbass bitch. And Anakin's like, he's trying.
Yeah.
It's cooler than you.
This movie is like way more quippy. Like right off the bat, like you feel like they actually have like a cool relationship in this one within 5 minutes of the movie.
And I just wish we had seen this because then the end of this movie would be so impactful.
I know, right? Like this should have been the last movie.
Yes.
Yeah. I think the final scene of this movie is impactful, but imagine how much more if we had gotten
it
this.
is, but it's like it should destroy me.
Yeah, it should. Like you should literally like call in from work the next day. That's how much it affects you. Like I can't come in. I can't come in today, boss. He's like, did you watch episode 3 again?
Yeah.
Yes.
Stop watching that during the week. I can't.
This whole scene from the beginning of when they land on the Invisible Hand, Grievous's ship, to when they crash land it, was originally an hour long. There's like
Phil would have loved it.
There's so much.
I would have.
I don't think he would have because it's mostly stuff in the ship, not outside. But there's so many like goofy little hijinks that they filmed, and you can watch most of these online. You can find the deleted scenes, but it's mostly like, now we're charging through the fuel tank of the ship, and we met General Grievous earlier, and he kills Shakti, and it's just like Lucas was like, I really want him to have a big swashbuckling adventure in the ship, but they pare it down, and I think that's such a bad idea because an hour long for the scene is way too long. I think cutting it down is the right choice. However, that leads to really weird edits in how it currently plays out and things that don't make like there's some silly things where the elevator bit when Anakin he gets out of the elevator, he ends up going back in at one point. Obi-Wan like brings up his lightsaber and goes, "Oh, it's you." Like, who the fuck else is that gonna be? Like, why are you so surprised?
I mean, yeah, but he's like
he's worried it's an enemy
ship, so it could be.
Sure, but Anakin just jumped up that hole, and then Anakin just jumped back down, and I would assume you can have a connection to that guy through the Force. I don't know why you're like, oh, you startled me, boy.
Maybe he's just like super scared about like closed in spaces. So he's like, on edge.
He's claustrophobic.
Yeah,
he doesn't like
Kenobi.
Yeah,
he definitely doesn't like planes. So maybe he doesn't like elevators.
Claustrophobic Kenobi.
Yeah,
that's what they called him in high school. He's trying to live it down, but people don't forget.
Right.
But they do find the Chancellor and Dooku, who like creeps up. I am also in this movie.
Count Dooku.
The Chancellor just watching and digging the fight is one of my favorite things in this movie.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, get it. Because he's so unbothered, like, because he's so powerful. Like, he's not actually in danger or anything.
He's like, whoever wins this becomes my pawn, so I don't really care.
This is fun for me.
I love the visual metaphor of the scene of it it's like poetry, it rhymes. It looks like the throne room from the Death Star where he's in like basically the same chair.
Yeah.
But they got those big windows and you can see the battle for the future of the galaxy going on behind them. And so it's like, it raises the stakes a bit in a way that helps sell this moment, because again, we don't get to see a lot of Dooku. So when Dooku shows up, you're just kind of like, oh, it's that guy from the first movie. Mm-hmm. And then when he died, you're like, well, what was the point of that guy from that movie?
Right.
Not much.
Which is a shame, because like I said in the last episode, Dooku is a really great character, but just not in
woefully
the movies.
underused.
Yeah.
Christopher Lee does his best, and he has a really cool moment where Hayden Christensen's Anakin is like, my power has doubled since last we met, and I died, and I got knocked out like a bitch immediately.
Yeah.
Twice the pride, double the fall. You know, it's just cool.
Yeah.
That doesn't scare me, boy. I don't care how cool your hair is.
Right.
I love the small touch where Obi-Wan's like, we'll take them together this time. And Anakin's like, I agree.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
It's my idea, actually. And Kenobi gets a big ouchie. He gets like, I remember as a kid, no, I wasn't a kid. I was super high, 16-year-old. But the scene always gets me because the CGI is a little wonky, but also makes it like look more painful when he drops the bridge on him.
And it like
scoots him. Yeah, it's like, oh, he's squished.
Yeah, he broke a hip.
That's a hell of a bruise at best.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah.
He's knocked out.
Do it. We get the scene where he disarms Dooku.
Literally, how cool is that where he like grabs his arms and
was really cool.
Cuts him off? Like he tries that move on Obi-Wan in the final scene, but Obi-Wan counters it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's great. There's actually, I kind of regret, well, no, Phil did it and stole it from me, so maybe I can say it now. Because I'm not sure that Phantom Menace does have the best saber play of the franchise. It's a very close call between that one and this one, I would say.
I think you're treading on my territory here, buddy.
Because the only thing that almost ruins it is how, well, we'll get there, but I think Grievous unveiling his sabers is like super blue balls.
Well, yeah.
Because he's ass with them.
Yeah.
He's like, zip, 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 and then just stops doing that as soon as he gets to Kenobi.
We'll get to that scene. Yeah.
But yeah, so he beats Dooku, cuts him, and then he's about to execute him, and then he realizes, oh, he's unarmed, and I should probably just arrest him because that's what Jedi do. You do it. And I don't believe these are the important moments in this movie that I don't believe. And like, I don't believe that Anakin in this moment is compelled by Palpatine to kill Dooku. Do it. Like no, like you got to think, we don't get to see it, but he has been 365 days a year, 24/7, living in the Jedi temple, with like, maybe not good, but definitely in a cult, indoctrinated in a certain way of being. Like, you don't just subvert that so easily. I don't care how cool of an old man you are. I think maybe we need more time with him and Palpatine to sell this moment.
I think the reason is because like deep down, I think he does feel the pull. And
of the dark side, you mean?
Yeah. And I think like, it's not that Palpatine himself is the reason for his turn. It's that he's the only person giving him direction to give into it. It's there from a younger age because he's filled with rage about his mother and about essentially his life, like not being able to love the way he wants to love and not being able to save the people he wants us to save. So I think the dark side is already, like, the seed is there. It's just Palps like puts water on the soil to essentially, yeah. So I think that's why he kills him in that moment, is because he's like, well, shit, this guy who's like, kill him. It's good. Like, you're good. He's like, well, this would save a lot of time and effort should he ever get back out and like keep the war going. So yeah.
Yeah. And also like
and plus, how would you put handcuffs on him?
Right. Right. Yeah. At this point, he's
like, well, shit, what do we do? Yeah. Also, he's been away from in theory, he's been out in the outer sieges fighting this war, something that Jedi aren't supposed to be doing. So
he's seen some shit.
He sees some shit. He's probably been outside of the boundary of the Jedi Temple for a long time fighting the war. But again, these are all things we don't see. We don't know any of this. And so it would be helpful to have that context that would make this more believable.
Yeah.
But I love how Palpatine's so blasé after it too. He's like, well, he took off your arm, so yeah, why not?
I just think that the way that, and I'm sorry, I know we need to be quicker today, but one of the things that bothers me about this trilogy is how so obviously not a good person Palpatine is, and therefore how stupid it makes Anakin look. like in this scene is one of the most egregious versions of this, where he's like, no time for Kenobi. Your literal like closest friend, ever. We don't have, his fate will be the same as ours, and it's just like,
shit.
Leave the dweeb. Let's go. It's like, why would you say that? Like you're telegraphing your evilness.
Leave that virgin.
And you're saying it in this tone of voice that doesn't sound like a good person. Like you'd think he'd be like, why are you talking like that all of a sudden?
That's my bro.
Why are you doing the Ian McDermott thing?
Sorry.
Good. Like they're out getting ice cream and he's like, do you like your flavor, Palpatine? It's good. Wait, why did you do that?
Taste the caramel.
Anyway, we get the big elevator fall scene where they're like in the shaft and the whole ship's turning around and upending. And
this was one piece of where I was talking about like this is a bad edit. Where so they're in the throne room, they call the elevator, and there's that whole gag where like the ship kind of starts falling and stuff, and they're like, R2, where are you? So they're in the theater, it cuts to R2 doing his thing. When it cuts back to them where Anakin's like, R2, where are you? They're in a completely different location. They're not in the throne room. They're in a random hallway. It cuts back to R2. And then when it goes back to them, they're back in the throne room again. Mm-hmm. It's just like, oof, that wasn't done well. I'm surprised that made it through the edit.
There's so much going on that you don't really notice unless you're looking for it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there is some confusion in this next 2 minutes for sure. Like, when he's covered in the pile of parts and stuff. Like it's a lot of things going on, but we get the whole elevator. It's cool because he's carrying an unconscious Obi-Wan Kenobi on his back while doing stuff that would kill any human being.
Yeah. I love when Obi-Wan wakes up. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
And then there's that
He's
shot
just
of
like looking up Palpatine's skirts when he went,
I love that shot where they show Ian McDermott hanging and his face is like,
Yeah.
There's this movie is like a Hall of Fame worthy of just look at Ian McDermott's face in every scene because he's making some goofy ones.
It's so hard for me not to do anything cool.
The takes they went with in this movie, specifically all of his takes, I'm just like, you couldn't take a second stab at that and just like say like, Ian, like let's tone it down.
It's really interesting though to think about how Palpatine can like almost fly. And he's in this peril that he's not allowed to.
He's acting.
He's not allowed to show his true abilities. So he's
maybe that's why. Maybe he's overacting. That's why he's making all those faces.
Like I would have loved to have seen when Anakin wasn't looking. You can just see him in the background, just like hopping from piece to piece, eating an apple.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all this shit happens. One of the worst lines in the movie is to me. It's so petty, but I fucking hate it. They land down there. And it cuts to somebody say, activate ray shields. And then it cuts to Anakin and the gang and he goes, ray shields.
Yeah.
And it's funnier
We're
because
smarter than this.
We've never heard ray shields before. And so it's dumb. It's a hat on a hat. But yeah, they get captured. He thinks Obi-Wan's he thinks R2's gonna come save him. And then he comes running out past some destroyers and they get captured. And we get a really cool fight that reminded me of the throne room in The Last Jedi fight a little bit. It's nowhere near as cool as that, but just like the setup of it.
Where they're fighting the Magna Guards on the because we finally get to meet General Grievous.
Yes,
and I actually really I love his introduction because he's such a good like preview of what Darth Vader becomes. He's this alien that's now a cyborg and he has breathing problems. Mm-hmm. But it's a dope design, but I love this interaction where like he's like, the negotiator, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Oh, Anakin, I thought you'd be older. And Anakin just gives him back with that like, I thought you'd be taller. And that's that like little beat where he's staring at him like,
And he's so tall too.
Yeah.
How could I be taller? That would be ridiculous. So that we get a really cool fight. And then Grievous gets away. There's a crash landing.
Another happy landing.
I saved you. Thank you, but not for saving my life. And whatever that dialogue is. What happened on Cato Nemoidia doesn't count. I want to see what happened on Cato Nemoidia.
I really like the ships that fly by it.
The firefighter ships
put out the fire as it's calming down. Like,
is that Coruscant that they're crash landing on?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting to me how many they kill people doing this because the tower gets knocked out.
Well, that's assuming anybody's in it.
Why wouldn't they be?
It's
just an empty tower
giant thing with the trajectory coming down, and they're like evacuate.
Also, did you notice? I noticed that one of the cool things about flight in this universe is that they don't have to land. Like they can, and they just stop and lower. Yeah. Like there's no landing strip or slowing down. But in this
repulsor
scene,
lifts.
It takes a few miles for them. They're not equipped for that. Ships don't have to do that.
Well,
so
maybe,
my headcanon is
maybe
thousands of people died. Thousands of people died.
Well, I think what they land on is
blue collar, salt of the earth, folks. Coruscant.
I think what they're landing on is a landing strip.
But why would it exist? Because ships don't need those.
Well, not all ships.
Some ships do.
Some ships do.
Oh, you're gonna hit me with the hashtag not all ships.
Yeah. Because what they're landing on is like a big flat runway, and they run over a control tower, like what you see in an airport.
I know, but like Universal.
It's pretty convenient that it decided to fall right at that angle of the planet.
Well, Anakin's good.
Yeah.
He sensed it.
He's real good.
Sure.
Yeah.
Raise the flaps.
They're like, oh, that ship's falling down. Oh, no, it's like the 10th one today.
Yeah. Again.
Don't worry, guys. Anakin Skywalker's flying it. Oh, cool. Send the fire brigade.
Knowing that Palpatine is the arbiter of all of this and he's in the cockpit, unbothered. I guess he has complete faith in his future apprentice or something, but he's just like,
this is fine.
It's a stretch to believe.
I know Darth Plagueis taught me.
I really get to let my hair down and just go on a drive.
And then we get to see Organa and Padme's there. And then she's like, I'm pregnant. And there's this beat where you think he's going to say, are you sure it's mine?
Yeah, his acting in that is wild. Like the delivery, it really gives that energy like, no.
Because Yoda taught me a technique and I've been spiritually wrapping it up.
Yeah,
so
it's called the pull out. the force pull out. Works every time, okay?
She convinces him that it's his. And he's like, oh, okay, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
This
Don't
is
worry.
a happy moment.
It'll be fine. And then we get the quick scene where, Palpatine's unbothered. Soon I'll have a new, more powerful apprentice. Don't worry. It's all good. Because they're upset that Dooku's dead. But he's not. That was all the plan, right?
His death was a necessary loss.
Anakin has a nightmare about Padme dying.
Spooky Mormon hell dream.
After the nightmare where his mother was in trouble and she ended up, in fact, being in grave danger. That's very upsetting to him. And he tells her, he's like, you die in childbirth. And she's like, oh, good morning.
Weird.
Well, we should ask Kenobi. And he's like, we don't need his help. Nothing bad has ever happened with me trying to do things by myself. It'll be fine.
No.
So he does go to tell Yoda about generic premonitions that he's having. And Yoda's like, again, I don't like that Yoda ignores all these red flags, but he's like, essentially, people die. Get over it. And he's
train yourself to let go of what you fear to lose,
which is good advice. And Anakin takes the opposite path. We hear a little bit about Master Voss has moved his troops to Boss Pity. And I just love that we don't know who Master Voss is or where Boss Pity is, but he's like, fuck it. Fuck you. I'm saying it. Do you know where Boss Pity is?
I do.
Nerd. Do you know who Master Voss is?
Quinlan Voss. Yes, I do. He's one of the coolest Jedi characters ever. He's like he's like an anti-hero, like the Punisher, but if he was a Jedi.
Oh, I love that.
Did he buy a farm during Order 66?
No, he is canonically alive. If you remember in the show Obi-Wan, when Obi-Wan's on that planet that starts like the underground
that show.
The Underground Railroad for Jedi, there's that point where like all the Jedi write their names. Obi-Wan goes, Quinlan was here. So like Quinlan Voss has canonically survived Order 66.
Interesting. And then Palpatine requested that Anakin come see him. And this is where the council starts to be like, it's kind of weird how much you guys hang out. I just want to throw that out there. He's so much older than you. You have nothing in common. But they let it happen anyway.
At the end of the scene, it's sort of cool. Like I didn't notice this before, but they literally walk into darkness together at the end of this scene.
Yeah.
Like they're like in his office proper, and then they're like walking down that hall.
And you get their silhouette.
Cool.
And there's something really cool, at least for huge Star Wars fans, seeing the silhouette of like Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader standing next to Palpatine. It's like a really like, ooh, that's a thing.
Just a good direction in that one scene.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot to love about this movie. And Palpatine says that he's making him a member of the council and a master to boot is what Anakin assumes, because all the people on the council are masters. It's weird that he has that authority. In fact, in the Jedi, I think it's weird too, but they still allow it. So he gets a seat on the council, but
We do not grant you the rank of master.
And Windu is like not soft about delivering this news. No. It's not really in the movies, but you told me in our last episode that Mace Windu hates Anakin.
Well, I don't know if hate's the right word, but Mace
very mistrustful.
He's he's distrustful of Anakin, and also like Mace Windu is like a pretty hardline dude, so he's pretty. A lot of people don't really like get along with him very well. He doesn't get along with a lot of people because he's such a stern person.
Yeah. So he tells him, "You're not going to have master," and then he's like openly disdainful of that decision. That's bullshit. And it cuts to Kenobi, who's just like aghast. Like, I raised you better than this. Yeah. I can't believe I hang out with you. Seriously.
I'm going to have to go get the rod.
Have you been drinking White Claws in the morning again?
Ain't breaking no laws. Anakin, have you been killing Yinglings again?
This episode of Streaming Things is sponsored by BetterHelp. What's the first thing you'd do if you had an extra hour in your day?
Sleep.
You would sleep more.
More, yeah.
Okay, sleep that's more. Fair. Some people might go for a run, read an extra book. A lot of us spend our whole lives wishing we had more time. The question is, time for what? If time was unlimited, how would you use it? The best way to squeeze that special thing into your schedule is to know what's important to you and make it a priority. That's what therapy can do. Therapy can help you find what matters to you so that you can do more of it. You can learn positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. You can get empowered to be the best version of yourself.
You can also nap.
You can also just nap. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, if you've never tried it, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Learn to make time for what makes you happy with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/streamingthings today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/streamingthings.
Spring is just around the corner, ladies and gentlemen, so how about we spring into action and give a special shout out to all of the patrons who keep the lights on over here at Streaming Things. And I want to give a special shout out to our super patrons for the month of March. Thank you, Stanton Valentino, Maddlestat, Bryce Coppin, Susie Callahan, Anthony Corona, Sunshine, Huckleberry Cauliflower, Ashley Hazen, Mike from New Hampshire, Brett X, Emily Scarano, Lil Tickler, Svento7, Jay Scramo, Bluffpum, AK Ashley Ray, Adam Busby, Wendy O'Laughlin, Jason Hawkins, Big Butthorn, Conrad, Kaylee Sampson, Rabbit Dog in a Barbie Car, Charlie Friday, Alexis Adler, Peaches, Emmy, Haley B, Joe Velez, John Collins, Amanda King, Trisha Bueller, Sun-Loving Mortal, Suzanne Rode, Jen Robinson, Kalisha Reeves, Aaron Armstrong, Kevin Strother, Ashley Powers, Stephen V, Casey McCain, and Enza. Thank you all so much for supporting Streaming Things, and let's get back to the show.
And Palpatine, this is part of his master plan. He knew that they would slight him, is my read of this.
Oh, yeah.
And he can use that, right?
The puppet master himself.
Yeah, he's like, oh, it's going to be so mad when he's not a master. And then the council, his first council meeting is talking about how somebody must go defend the Wookiees. And they send...
What about the droid attack on the Wookiees?
But they want him to stay and spy on Palpatine.
Good relations with the Wookiees I have.
Bros for long we have been.
We hang.
Yeah. Windu doesn't like his bitch ass, and he does make that clear, but they want him to spy on Palpatine, and he acts all offended about that. Like, it's not the Jedi way. The Jedi way is for you to stop being a bitch. That's what he should have said. Mm-hmm. He just needs some tough love, I feel like.
Do you want to hear it from me or the back of my hand?
And then this is where Padme's like, maybe we're the bad guys? and he's like, definitely not. And how could Palpatine? He says things like, do it. And good.
Do it.
How's that bad?
And he's always talking about the Sith. It's really weird.
Well, does he bring up the Sith ever before like the big moment in when they're watching the bubbles?
No.
Okay.
I just, again, like this whole movie, and all of this movie, so often I just want to reach into the screen and yell to Padme, get away from him. Yeah. Like when he's like, you're sounding like a separatist. Like, that's a fascist motherfucker. Get away from him.
She's sounding like a libtard.
She's the dumbest smart person in this movie. Like she could be so much more if she just like did not have any connection to this man.
What about this line where she says, I wish we
me.
could go back to Naboo, back when there was no politics, no plotting. When was that? Because there was a massive war going on the entire time
for
you've
fucking
known
Naboo.
each other.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Yeah, right.
It never did.
Hold me.
What the fuck were you talking? There was a lot going on.
There's a deleted scene that I really wish they would have kept in, but it's like pretty much the only scene that gives Padme any sort of agency in this movie, and it's when her and Bale and a young Mon Mothma are talking about like, hey, the Chancellor's being a dictator. We need to form some sort of alliance in the Senate against him. Like it's supposed to be like this is the first real sort of inkling of some sort of
You mean like the Rebel Alliance?
Resistance,
like some
effort.
sort of because he's not dictator. I don't think he's dictator yet, but like it's still this like it gives her agency. Like, hey, what he's doing is wrong, and I'm working
he
with
got
the people
emergency
against this.
powers
He
at the end of
served
two,
longer
so.
than his term. Always.
Yeah.
They're all people in the know are already a little like nervous.
Yeah, like this ain't cool.
No.
Right.
But yeah, so then we get the scene. It's like the Abraham Lincoln Theater scene, except it doesn't end the way we would like.
Did you see George Lucas in here?
No.
George Lucas makes
Was
a
he just
cameo.
hobbling around?
No, he's a blue dude. Like when
Painted in blue?
the scene where Anakin runs in, he runs past George Lucas, who's talking to his daughter, who also makes a cameo. All of the Lucas families in this fucking movie.
Yeah, right.
I saw him, a cameo of him in that documentary you sent me.
I love
I
that.
love that clip.
I don't know what documentary it is, but you can go on YouTube and just search George Lucas documentary cameo. It's literally a cameo of guys. He's talking about the financial crisis of 2008, I think.
Yeah.
And he's on the street of New York talking to the camera, and you just see George Lucas just start walking behind him like, oh, there's a camera, and then he just walks off screen.
I think George spikes the camera too. Like he looks right at it. And he's like, all right. Like just walks off.
It's just kind of funny that this dude's doing a documentary and has no idea that George Lucas just crept up behind him and kept going about his day.
You know, when he was editing it, that he was like, fuck yeah.
Is that George?
The guy's like,
Lucas?
wait a minute.
This is going to do gangbusters on YouTube. But yeah, we get the scene in like the theater. Palpatine found Grievous and Anakin shows up and he's like, everyone leave us to watch these bubbles.
Yeah. What the fuck are they watching?
It's a Mon Calamari space opera.
And then we get the iconic scene where he just starts talking about Sith casually.
Annie does not pick up on this at all.
No red flags.
It's like, my buddy's talking about the Sith a lot and like giving me like weird eyes. It's really strange, but I'm not going to suspect that he's the guy.
Have you heard the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Guys, I think it's really gross that you guys are blaming the victim of grooming. Okay, that's real gross. Okay,
Sorry.
no, I have not.
I thought not. It's not a story a Jedi would tell you.
I do love this scene.
It's a good scene.
It's a good scene, yeah.
It's just, and it ends great. He's like, can I learn this ability to stop my loved ones from dying?
Not from a Jedi.
From a Jedi.
Love that. But here's what's so funny and what makes this movie like immediately brings it from a 5-star to a 3-star. It for me is he spends the whole movie like,
You want to save Padme? You like her? Is that your friend? You really like having her around? I can help you. I can help you if you like her.
I don't think you should like her. I think you should have lots of bitches. But if you like one, and then, so he's like, okay, I'll kill all the children, which is super out of character. I mean, I knew I killed sand people in anger, but
It's not the first children he's killed. Come on.
literally,
Once you cross that
I'll do
threshold.
anything you ask of me. Right. And then he does it. And he goes back to, I'm sorry, I'm building up here because I think it's so silly because the movie takes this long of a build up. He goes back to Sidious and he's like, okay, teach me, master. I don't actually know how to do that. But together we could probably figure it out.
Yeah.
And he's not even mad. Like, how mad would I be? So mad. What do you mean you don't fucking know how to do it? I'm in a
talked about,
hurry
like,
here.
He talks about like at the end when he's on Mustafar with her, like, I can save you with my new power. Like, you haven't learned it. Like, how do you know that you can do it yet?
He's being really optimistic about,
Absolutely.
about the return on this investment.
just the promise of even remotely being trained on that, like, makes him completely flip.
Guys, we've all been there. I mean, there was a time when I got into a cult and I was like, guys, I can save you a lot of money on your health insurance if you just join this cult that I'm a part of.
The Sith is just a pyramid scheme.
Yeah. Do you guys like leggings? I got this custom jewelry I have. Do you want a part of it?
Like, there's a version of this movie that is so much like, if you kill Padme so much earlier, And that's the turn. I believe that in his rage, because when my mom died, I went from like borderline hippie pill addict, I partied a lot, way too much, snorted a lot of stuff, but I was just a partier, right? That is watching my mom on the ventilator and then having to like take her off life support. And like, I hate to be dark, but like, it's not like in the movies, like it's a slow process. And I just watched for like 12 hours, right? That is where I went mad, right? Like I was so furious at the end of that, at the entire world, that when they brought her preacher from like her hometown to the hospital, I like cussed him out and walked out, right? Like I was just like, burn it down. You know what I mean? Because my dad was in prison. I was left alone to make that decision. So I would buy that. Like Padme dies. Maybe there's a Jedi who stopped him from attending her bedside at the birth because he had to like, you do your duty, Anakin. Like it was like one of those scenes. And then he feels like because he wasn't there, that I buy. Now he's angry at the Jedi. He's angry at the whole world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, he's still alive. He's having kids. Like she's such a good person. Like I don't fucking buy it that he's making this decision. I just don't, but there's a sad movie here.
I think we're all on the same page with that. Yeah.
If we just edit it a little different.
Yeah.
I'm so passionate because like, not to be, it sounds arrogant, but it's like, it's obvious to me. Yeah. Like how do you tell this story in a more believable way?
But I've studied people. I know what makes
he
them
wants
tick.
to save her. No, I get that. But anyway.
He's having a spooky Mormon hell dream.
Not from a Jedi. And then we get the Wookiee War. And the Wookiee War's neat.
Wait, there's just one thing. He has a waking dream in the scene after the Sith talk with Palps. And
when he's got his like Nintendo Switch,
he's got like a Nokia N-Gage that he's like holding. I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
It was just funny.
It's funny. He was playing Animal Crossing, and then he's like, "Was Obi-Wan here?"
Because we had iPad
he didn't
on a
give
stick.
me anything on my island.
We had iPad on a stick in episode 1, and then we had this like weird N-Gage.
It's good to see that in the world of Star Wars, the new update on the handheld device over the course of 14
Has
years
lost the stick.
The designers are like, let's lose a stick.
Yeah.
It's just an attachment that he's not using at that moment.
Sorry, but
no, I get it. But yeah, this is where I think she says, hey, Obi was just worried about you. But we get the Wookiee War, and they decide to send Kenobi to get Grievous, and Anakin's upset because he feels like he's the way better option to go fight Grievous, and Palpatine prepped him for that disappointment. But there is a cool scene where Anakin apologizes to Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm always such a little bitch. Oh, it's cool.
You're a much more powerful Jedi than I.
Yeah, he's
And
like,
I'm very proud of you, my friend.
and this is the last time they meet as friends, right?
Yeah.
So it was
it's so sad.
yeah.
Oh,
It's a real bummer. It is. I think that scene is a little undercut because it is a great scene, but then the next scene, when he's talking to Padme, he's like, Obi-Wan doesn't trust me. Like, what are you talking
Yeah,
about,
you
dude?
just had a good moment.
You just had a good talk with your bro.
He's mentally he's mentally unwell though. So
Yeah.
you could explain that away, but just by scene to scene.
Mood,
like
massive
his
mood swings.
change, yeah.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but I think it makes sense because like he's not supposed to make sense because he is because that's how frustrating people are. You're like, what are you fucking talking about?
Yeah.
And like, I had a spooky Mormon hell dream and I can't get it out of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get more Padme nightmares in that scene as well. And then I just briefly, who does Kenobi think got Padme pregnant? Because she's very pregnant.
He knows it's Anakin, but he's a bro.
Yeah.
But like, what about everyone else?
Oh,
She's probably like, it's none of your business who.
I don't know how this world works. I get the idea that in our world, a prominent politician without unmarried and very pregnant is news. I guess in this universe, thankfully, it's not. Like there's more progressive in this time.
Maybe they're just like, it's not our business who she.
That's good. I'm glad they're that way.
so.
well, if you look at the rest of the movie, like she's wearing like big, like
she's very
flowering gowns that
Very obviously pregnant.
sure.
She used to
but-
wear croppy toppies all the time.
Oh yeah, but now she's not. But like everyone else in Coruscant wears flowery robes, so maybe it fits right in.
Palpatine's got the little,
Like the big poofy shoulders.
Yeah, I
love
want those.
things. Yeah, I love them.
make me look swole. Bring back the 80s, you know?
I look so buff.
The shoulder
Have you
pads.
ever learned this tragedy of Darth Gaines the Swole?
Stop.
It's not a story Jedi would tell you.
And then Kenobi shows up to this. What's this planet that looks really cool with like the horse?
Utapau.
Utapau. Utapau. And then the evil looking alien
Really cool.
is actually not evil. He snitches on Grievous. He's like, he is here. He's on the 10th floor. I'm really scared.
10th level. Thousands of battle droids.
Do you have lots of friends with you? Because there's a lot of them.
Do you know who that guy is?
Carl.
No, well, yeah, you got him.
Close.
No, that's the gyrocopter from Mad Max.
Wait, what?
The gyrocopter pilot from Mad Max, Bruce Spence.
Really?
Yeah, he's in a bunch of movies.
And he's a snitch in this one. And snitches get stitches.
Yeah. Doesn't work out well.
So Obi-Wan gets a horse lizard. And he's like,
a boga.
I'm going to fuck this dude up.
Wah, 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 wah. I love this thing. It's dumb, like Imagine Dragon. I
Makes
love it.
cool sounds.
Grievous wants to send all of the other separatists to Mustafar where they'll be safe on the volcano planet.
And that is one of the funniest lines. Like,
The Sith volcano.
planet. You will be safe there.
You're like the juxtaposition of words. And then we get the wonderful hello there.
Hello there.
He just arrogantly drops in the middle of like all these destroyer droids and all kinds of stuff and just says, hello there.
Completely unconcerned with his
And
life.
even Grievous is impressed.
Yeah.
He's like, the balls in
He was
this
like,
guy.
bro, respect.
Yeah, this is crazy. Why
dick you have.
That's me,
that thing around.
that's me choking on it.
Jeez.
Sorry. But of course it's a movie. And so Grievous says, instead of just shooting you to ashes, which is the obvious move, everybody back up.
Yeah.
I got this. Dooku taught me how to use these. And he pulls out his 4 lightsabers. And then he does like dumb shit with it. He's like, we'll spin them. And then I'm going to stop spinning as soon as I get to you.
Logically, he should make short work of Obi-Wan in this moment just by virtue of having 4 of them to his 1. Like, I don't know how he blocks.
Well, he uses 2 at a time as 1.
Yeah,
So-
but like Obi-Wan essentially like thrusts into his fray and he blocks with like all 4 at once. And I'm like, just block 1 or
Yeah.
block 2, then just go bzz, like around him. Like, it's not that hard.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, the Tartakovsky cartoon that introduced Grievous, he's like so rad because his torso's spinning, so he's like helicoptering and like he can grab his lightsabers with his a big one. And he's like using his feet to like grab the lightsaber.
I learned this from Count Dooku.
Let me tell you my favorite trick, my friend. Just imagine Christopher Lee helicoptering.
they're just smoking.
This is how I do it. Look at the technology.
And they're smoking a bong and he's just helicoptering like bros do.
But that shot of Grievous helicoptering the sabers is dope. I mean, I got it framed up there, signed by Matt Wood, the voice actor for Grievous.
You do. There's a photo of Grievous helicoptering on Steve's wall.
So interesting, actually, story about Matthew Wood. He's actually one of the sound designers for Star Wars and has been a Lucasfilm employee like this whole time. I think he actually was Bib Fortuna in episode 1.
Episode 1, yeah. He pokes Jabba awake.
Yes, he does. But Gary Oldman was supposed to be the voice for General Grievous, but Gary Oldman pulled back at the last minute because he's part of the Actors Guild and found out that Lucas wasn't using Actors Guild actors in this movie, so that he pulled out. And they were trying to figure out, well, who's going to voice Grievous now? And Matthew Wood, who already was a Lucas employee, submitted this role like, this is what I sound like he was doing that voice. But he put it under a different name because he didn't think they would pick him if they thought he was already employed. And they picked this person. And he's like, ha, it was me. And so that's how he got the role. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in the closet next door
Ha
listening to you decide this. And yeah, there's a great action sequence. He fights Grievous, cuts off 2 of his arms, I think. And then he gets all spidery and
Pretty
shit.
fast, too. Just
Dispatches his punk ass. And then the clones show up. A bunch of shit happens. Kenobi drops his saber during the chase.
right at Commander Cody's feet. And he's like,
In the way
that scene cracks me up because he's just like, what the hell? And like looks up.
does
like,
it rain lightsabers on this planet?
and it's in the way that he chastised Anakin a lot for, this is your coolest
This is your
toy.
life.
Oops, I did the thing. And we cut to, I love this scene because it's like Palpatine closing his porn browser. as people walk in. Oh, hello. I think it's Death Star plans.
Yeah.
But it's funnier to imagine.
Why was he looking at the Death Star plans?
Yeah.
at
Oh,
that
I'm
moment?
going to love this. Like, is he a fucking engineer now?
I think we should call it the Deathticle or the giant hurt ball.
Giant hurt ball.
And then, so Palpatine tells him that he knows Ball in this scene and has the power to save Padme. Again, he does not. I want to be clear about that, which is so fucking funny.
And this is the scene where he.
But apparently he does in the sequels, right? Like, that's how somehow Palpatine returned. No, it was just cloning. Never mind. It doesn't matter.
Let's not try to dissect how that.
We cut back. The horse lizard is still chasing the loose tire.
Wah, 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 wah.
And
Wah, wah, wah.
they do hand-to-hand fights, which is where he's sorely outmatched against Grievous, right?
I love how like he kicks him and he's like, oh, ow, like because it's
metal,
like shin against steel. Yeah,
yeah. He does find his organ box, and he's like, "Ooh, what's in here?
Yeah,
a heart and one intestine."
And he's like, "What the hell?
Yeah, don't look at my shit. That's not okay." what year is this?
I do not consent."
That's one of my favorite things is how like Obi-Wan shoots General Grievous, and that's how he kills him, and he like flames out.
Why is his death so dramatic?
I don't know. It's cool. I love it. It makes no fucking sense, but it's dope.
It's like a video game boss cinematic after you kill him.
Yeah, but I love how Obi-Wan like throws the same, so uncivilized.
Yeah.
'Cause that calls back to A New Hope when he's like, it's a more civilized weapon, referring to the lightsaber.
Oh, yeah, that is a good reference.
Yeah.
I don't shoot. That's for thugs.
Yep.
And then Anakin tells Windu that Palpatine is a Sith Lord.
A Sith Lord?
Oh my God, what?
Are you sure?
No, I'm pretty sure. Honestly, I
love
should have told you when he told me about Darth Plagueis, because it's weird that he knew that.
When Mace gets in the gun ship at that point, like with like Sese Tin and
Kit Fisto, Sese Tin, and Aegon Kolar.
he was like, Anna's like, he just dropped a bomb on me. Like, I've got some tea to spill about our friend Paps here.
Guys, get in here.
That's got to be the most awkward gunship ride of the whole movie.
I know we were going to go get ice cream, but we have to make a stop real quick.
Do you think the other three were like, we do not do this? Like the one guy's like, I'm a gardener.
Yeah.
I don't think this scene
slayed
works if you know the lore, because I'm like new to the lore, but like they're not positive up until a few years ago that Sith exist anymore, right?
Yeah.
They thought they defeated them completely. So this is a huge thing.
Well, I mean, there's like the prophecy left, like there will be one to bring balance to the Force. So it still exists out there. They just don't know when and
or
where.
misread the prophecy was.
But to your point, like all of these Jedi have never faced a Sith or know what they are. I mean, I'm sure they've heard the stories and stuff from history.
They don't know what they're capable of.
But they've never like faced one themselves.
Right.
Kenobi has.
Kenobi's the only one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then and Anakin's like, let me go arrest him with you because I'm powerful. And Windu's like, you sit your ass here. I'm about to trust you. If this is true, if it's not, you're in big trouble. But
if this is true, I'm coming back and we're dapping. All right. This is dope.
Go sit in the throne room and I'll be right back. And then, he's over there wondering about saving Padme with what skills he might have while he waits. And then it cuts to Padme who like feels something's off as well. And then Anakin's like, fuck this. I'm going. So he takes off. Windu and his homies show up and it's Kit Fisto. I recognized him as the guy who giggles when he kills droids. And
Ethkoth and Sese Tin, right?
Aegon Kolar and Sese Tin. Sorry.
Stop making up sounds, guys. We're trying to get through a podcast.
Aegon Kolar and Ethkoth are the same species, race, whatever you want to call it. But
I'm speciesist, I guess.
But Ethkoth does die off camera in between the movies. Yeah. But I love this line because they're by the order of the Senate.
I am the Senate.
I am the Senate. Like, oh,
and
I
they're
fucking
like,
love it.
You're definitely not.
Yes.
It's not how democracy works. Democracy makes me giggle.
And then he does that like, that
like
the twirly.
that like shrieking twirl.
Because we've never seen Palpatine with a saber.
No.
And it's because he loses his saber in the fight.
When he whips out the lightsaber from his like little
like switchblade.
like a switch, like a switchblade from under his coat, like it's so cool. Like it's treason then.
So dramatic.
But it's neat how Yoda and Palpatine both lose their sabers in this movie, and you never see them with them again, right? I'll just use my lightning fingers.
That's pretty cool.
Well, like he doesn't need to at that point. Like the Jedi are done. Like he just needs that tool for like a short time, and then he's done.
Honestly, I'll miss it because it's fun. But yeah, so there's a really awesome fight. And you told me that Windu is like an incredibly powerful saber user, right?
Yeah, he's probably like the best fighter in the council. He uses a form called Vapad.
I don't like how quickly he kills Kit Fisto and the guys because they don't even put up a fight. They don't even fight.
I don't either. I don't know how true this is, but the story I'm told is like Ian McDermott can't really do the fighting that well. So
so like he didn't do that flip twirl?
No.
I can imagine, but there's ways.
They use him in all the tight shots because there is a lot of tight shots of him and Mace Windu snarling at each other.
What if he was like, and Windu was like, ugh.
But I guess it came on the day where they had this whole like choreography planned with like everybody involved. But I can't remember who it was. It might have been Samuel Jackson. It might have been Ian McDermott. But one of them was like, can we just like
dispatch
not do it? And they're like, okay. Which is a kind of a bummer. You can go online and look up the test footage that a lot of the stunt guys had choreographed for this, and the other three do go out pretty quickly.
Yeah,
but Kit Fisto specifically stays in a little longer in the fight,
an extra 2 seconds.
Yeah,
but just give up some kind of fight. Like they just go, It's like, guys, you weren't prepared.
Yeah,
I think they may have just been like so shocked, like, oh fuck, it's true. Like,
yeah,
we like knew, but like now we really know. Oops,
He's got a red one.
Yeah.
Where do you even get that? Was that in his sleeve?
Yeah. So he kills him super easily, and then
no plate glass window can survive in the prequels.
No.
So
Windu would have defeated him, I guess.
Yeah,
for sure.
Is that your read, or is it that Palpatine was throwing the fight, knowing what Anakin would do because he needed Anakin to make this decision?
I legitimately think that he was not like in fear of his life. Like at that point, I think he knew like, I've got my tool here. Like I've got him. But up until that point, like had he not shown up when he did, I think Mace could have taken him out.
Also, and Mace is like, I'm going to arrest you. And then at a certain point when Anakin shows up, he's like, actually, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
And then Anakin, under the guise of the true Jedi way, is like, no, we can't do that. Makes a split second decision to not just block the saber, but cut off Windu's arm. And then at that, again, it's so telegraphed.
Oh God.
Unlimited power. And then Anakin's like, I made the right choice.
So Palpatine should have learned in this moment, like maybe the lightning thing is not my best play because the lightning thing gets turned on him so like every fucking movie.
Yeah.
But he like he melts his own face with Mace redirecting the lightning back at him. Like, dude, you can just shut that thing off.
Yeah, just
fine.
Turn it off.
But the whole like I'm weak.
That's the thing.
I'm
like
too weak.
They didn't give this man another take. Or like maybe that was like take 15.
Lucas
and they're
can't
like,
tell
oh God,
what looks real. He can't tell. I bet there was a better take and he chose this one.
Maybe.
It's a little frustrating because that's silly, but as corny as it is, the power, unlimited power, like that works for me. Like, I fucking love it.
He's fun.
Yeah.
I remember when we worked at the movie theater, you could walk down the halls, like if you were cleaning auditoriums or something, and you can always kind of hear, like if you cross a auditorium, you kind of hear what's going on.
For me, it was Breaking Dawn Part 1 when I worked there that I heard all the time.
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
But I seem to always walk past the episode 3 theaters when you just hear power.
And then after all this, he's like, actually, I don't know the way to cheat death. I'm so sorry. I was fucking with you.
Good.
I love the reverb they put on his voice at this point. That echoey, deep growling.
It's like Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
You will be known as Darth Vader.
Just like Misty Mountain Hop.
It's good.
And then Palpatine declares that every Jedi is an enemy of the Republic and says that Anakin needs to go kill them all, including the children. And Anakin's like, fair enough.
Dope.
I have adequately been prepped for this and I am willing to do it.
I agree.
Cody.
I love how quickly he goes from what have I done?
Yeah.
And then his next line is, I agree.
Yeah.
And then Cody gives Kenobi his saber back. I found this. And then
hopefully this doesn't tend to bite me in the ass.
But this is where the movie really works for me, basically almost completely from here on out. Like I get chills and like it's just it's very sad. Like they execute Order 66. And then
shall be done, my lord.
They slaughter almost all of the Jedi.
Oh man!
And he shoots Kenobi down. He falls. And who is that super hot blue Jedi?
Ayla Secura.
Okay, just wondering.
Kiadi Mundi.
Dude,
Yeah, the-
Kiadi Mundi fucks.
The Kiadi scene it makes me cry. 'Cause he's
That
like,
was
"Come on,
actually
guys."
the worst one, I
Yeah,
think.
because just like when they pull their guns on him and just his look
The
of like,
realization.
my dudes.
I'm helping you.
What? Oh no.
The music in the scene is like really,
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, it's
Great music.
so sad.
Plo Koon getting shot down in his starship is like a huge bummer because that's a really neat character.
Yeah, he's cool.
But Yoda's not having that bullshit.
No, Yoda, you can't sneak up
That's
on
where
What's funny-
where I cry is where he clutches his chest and drops his cane.
Yeah.
But then when he's angry and he's like,
Also,
Call the
to be like the Wookiees next to him, being like, "Well, what the fuck just happened?"
I
Like,
hate
you
that
just
one of
killed
them
the-
is Chewbacca.
I know
That
he
he
has
just-
no reason to be in
that
this
he
movie.
just fled to a life of crime after this.
I know this movie, like he did not need to be in. Like, there's no
Well-
reason that Chewbacca needs to be in this, except for the fact that like fans want him in it.
In the original draft of this movie, a 10-year-old Han Solo was in this movie on Kashyyyk.
We don't need that.
Chewie was his adopted father, and Han Solo.
I'm so glad they cut this out.
Han Solo found some sort of droid that was emitting a signal, and he's like, "This is where General Grease on Utapau," and that's how they figure out he's on Utapau.
Oh my god!
It's because Han Solo figured it out. So I'm
glad
so
they
glad
did
that because
that.
Han Solo definitely shouldn't be in this movie.
No.
Chewie, really dumb that he's in this movie.
No
at least
reason.
to the extent that he's in. Like maybe if you just like ran in the background, maybe. But like,
If you want to cast Peter Mayhew in this film, just give him
Make him
the lead role of
make him Tarful.
Tarful's. Yeah,
Tarful.
Tarful. Sorry,
Tarful, yeah.
yeah.
I do love to your point when Yoda like ices Commander Green and the other trooper. Like I love how the Wookiee's like, "Oh, that sucks. Hey, you want to help?"
Yeah, I know.
Whatever.
I heard you make a good backpack.
Yeah.
I do.
Call an ambulance, somebody must, but not for me.
Commander Gree's name cracks me up because it's like George is all like,
What do we call
I need
the
a
green
name
one?
for this guy. He's green. Green. Just take off the N.
And then we get a brief scene of the not the younglings, right?
My dad did not like this scene when we watched it.
It's not a good scene to like.
No,
who likes it?
After the movie, we asked him like, "Oh, did you like the movie?" And he was like, "Yeah, but that scene with the kids was too much." And I was like, "Yeah, I get it, man."
Did you know? I'm sure you do. You guys know everything, but I mean about Star Wars. But like, apparently, I just learned recently that what they did is like the guy who's like, Master Skywalker, there's too many of them.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
He's the Pip and the dog of the younglings. What are we going to do?
The Snoke thing.
Apparently, they told Anakin to just go rah at the kids without them knowing.
Oh, the light shot where they jump.
Is that why he jumps?
And that's why he does that.
Oh, I didn't know
And he
that.
actually had to like sit and apologize to the kid afterward.
Oh,
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's kind of adorable and creative way to get that reaction from
Yeah.
kids.
The way he reacts is so like it's like effective.
Yeah,
and they
it's real.
tiptoe up to the line of like a really, really dark scene and then just like kill it, which I think is the
This
right
is what he
move.
does to the youngling.
Right. Right. But I think like that's like one of the better scenes in the movie. Like it's extremely well done to tiptoe up to that line without like crossing.
You know what
into-
Palpatine should have done is filled the Jedi Temple with sand. And that way, when Anakin walks in there, he's like,
Yeah.
"Ah!"
Yes. Yes.
He's in a sand rage.
That Padawan that's with
That
that Padawan that's with Organa is really cool. Like he fucks some people up.
You know who that is?
No,
That's George Lucas's son, Jet.
Lucas.
Jet Lucas.
Weird thing to have your son cameo in. All right, Jet, you're going to be in a Star Wars. Oh, I'm going to make you a Jedi. Isn't that so cool? And then I'm going to kill you.
Well,
I think his name is like Rhett Jukasa too. Like,
Yeah.
like
why
it's
is
so
he
silly?
Why is there a random Padawan with Organa?
Well,
Well,
the
he's not
Padawan's
with
trying
them.
to escape,
Yeah.
and Organa was just driving by like, hey, the Jedi Temple seems on fire. I bet I can help. And
He's like, fuck.
Yeah.
it's time for you to leave.
But Kenobi's still alive. He's got one of those like air breather things from the first movie. Nice pull. And then Yoda's in his tiny ship.
All these Wookiees are dead.
Yeah. Organa's trying to help. They're assuming that Kenobi's dead. That's where this line you were talking about. Like, he fell a long way. We don't need to find the body. And Jedi
survive that fall.
Yeah, Jedi never get out of sticky situations.
We've only fought with him for 4 years. We should know better.
And then Kenobi's going to go link up with Yodes.
Yodes?
Which is his bro.
Yodes, what's up?
Yodes, this is crazy. Where's the hot blue one? Oh, no. There she is.
Dirty old Ben? My guy?
Ben.
Old stinky Obi-Wan.
Bad news about the Yinglings. They drank it all.
Oh no, Anakin killed all the Yinglings again. I told him he can't do that.
Padme heard that there was an attack on the Jedi Temple. And she's like, oh my God, is everything okay? And Anakin's like, oh, it's going to be fine. Don't worry. Nothing fucking insane just happened.
Don't worry. I know what's on your mind. I didn't betray the Republic, all right? That's the one thing I did today.
People are going to say I killed kids. I didn't do it.
People are saying
fake news.
They're going to go. But yeah, so they're going to go to a special session of like Congress. And
just what I want in Star Wars, a special session of Congress.
And Yoda's busting in, and Palpatine, and I like that, like he's going full Hitler in there, right? He's charismatic, and
he blames the Jedi for
fuck the Jedi. We always hated them.
The Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire.
Nothing bad could happen. Is the hot blue one gone too? I was just checking. And then that's the scene where Yoda's like,
I think Palpatine went too far. He killed the hot blue one. I mean, I get it. Some Jedi gotta die, but the hot blue one?
Let's not get hasty.
They should change it from the Jedi Council to the Council of Babs.
That'd be nice. And then this is where Yoda becomes a detective. He goes full private dick, and he's like, by lightsaber, this Padawan was killed. And then and Kenobi's like, who could have done that?
I can't bet. I'd have
literally
to know.
No one.
And then they watch the tape. That's presumably above Palpatine's desk.
Yeah, it's above his porn browser he was watching earlier.
Like they couldn't have watched that to like see if he's the Sith Lord before that.
Oh, I think it's implied that Palpatine went to the temple after the fact and
just
was
to
like,
watch it.
Way to go! I love all these dead bodies of children. My dude
crushed it.
Now go kill New Gunray.
Yeah. Good. And we cut to Vader. Now I'm going to call him Vader.
Yeah,
killing the Separatists.
Cool scene.
Yeah, I mean, there's no more Republic. We get the Galactic Empire.
I feel so bad for Newt Gunray. I don't know why. Even though he's
all that bitch.
Even though he's such a bitch, just the way he's like, I just wanted to. Why?
Like you just waged war for years. Like you deserve
like
this.
15 years. Yeah. And then we get the best line in the franchise, maybe. I don't know, but and some actual great acting from Natalie Portman for once in this franchise. She's incredible. So this is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause. Oh,
it's good.
You know, the Washington Post was like, fuck that. We should have taken that.
George
so
did not write that line.
You don't think so?
No. No.
And they should have.
Spielberg came in and was like, I got this, buddy.
Yeah.
That should have been the line in the movie review of the original Star Wars. This is how cinema dies. With thunderous applause. So Gunray struck down. Kenobi sees Anakin has become a Sith, and he's like, I can't watch. I don't like it. And Yoda says that Kenobi, you can't beat Sidious. And he's like, I can't fight Anakin. He's like, you're going to have to because you can't take Sidious. You're no way. Honestly, I can't. I don't think I can.
Yoda really hits Obi-Wan with a, not my problem.
Yeah.
My problem it is not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got to kill Anakin.
And then Kenobi gives the bad news to Padme. And this is the line that makes me cry every time because a lot of this doesn't work when he's like killing younglings. You know, that's silly.
It's a little bit
But the line where he gets to go on his ship and he turns around and goes, Anakin's the father, isn't he? I'm so sorry. And, you know, it gives me chills just thinking about it because he's like, your baby daddy kills kids. That's terrible.
I mean, if you think about it, I'm saving your child.
Yeah.
Because he's got a history.
But no, that crushes me because he has such empathy for her in that moment, but he's also still going through his own struggle. And that's
why Obi-Wan's the best Jedi.
Yeah.
He's great. Padme arrives to Mustafar ahead of Obi-Wan. And
Well, he stows away.
He's
all
with
the
her.
time.
Yeah, he stows away. He goes into coach.
Yeah.
He
You know how it takes forever to get off because
basically,
everybody above you is trying to get their bags.
he pops a squat in some like closet and just rides from.
So she doesn't know he's in there?
No, she doesn't. Obi-Wan's one of those people that like when the plane lands, he claps. Another happy landing.
just like.
And she's all
quiet,
like,
right?
I can't believe you like killed all the kids and stuff. And he's like, you're being a real downer right
You're
now.
harshing my vibe, girl.
Obi-Wan's trying to turn you against me.
So I know this is kind of cheesy, but for whatever reason, it does work. Like I get that little like welling of tears in my eyes when he's like, she goes, you're breaking my heart. Like you're going down a path I can't follow.
I think it's the way she delivers the line.
No, I'm getting
line
literally
itself.
goosebumps right now. See how my hair's standing up?
The music is swelling. And then like just that shot where he's like, because of Obi-Wan, and you see him look away from her, and then it just cuts to Obi-Wan just standing there.
I
It's
love that he's doing the look at my dick.
like, look at my Grievous knew it was big. But just that like that simple shot of him, and like when she realizes like, oh no, I didn't mean to bring it. Like it's like, oh fuck no.
Well, it does work because like he starts to panic because he doesn't know that he doesn't think she's wrong in what she's saying.
Right.
You have to double down. It's rough. It does work. I love the line, "Love won't save you, Padme," because that's where he's given up on the idea that it's going to work out. The universe is it is what it is. Like he's taken a path. He's broken bad. You've changed. And then that's
Don't you turn against me.
And then he chokes her when he thinks that she brought Obi-Wan to be sneaky.
Yeah. Liar.
And
I do love the very small character detail because like Anakin's, pontificating about ruling the world or whatever, and they kind of circle each other. And there's this very small moment where Obi-Wan specifically does that so he can go and check on Padme.
Yeah.
But Anakin never did.
Yeah.
And it's like a very good character moment between them all.
Yeah.
And then he says, "If you're not with me, you're against me," ish. And Obi-Wan
Only
says,
Sith steal an absolute.
which is an absolute, which is funny.
Yeah. Wow, that's true. Yeah.
You will not take over me.
I wish he was grammatically playing with him.
Sorry, you will not take over me. That line delivery cracks me up every time. You will not take over me. You have done that yourself.
Did you put your name in the Goblet Harbor? And then they have the fucking
Fun fact, this movie was the second highest grossing movie of that year, second to The Goblet of Fire.
Goblet of Fire beat Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Wow. And 1,000 nerds
Goblet
cried
of
out.
fat stacks.
And we get an incredible lightsaber fight that carries on through some cuts here, but it starts here.
Lightsaber fight's so good.
It's so good.
I just think it's okay.
Really?
I'm like I'm not being fun about that. I think there are too many.
Disagree.
I think there are too many like quick cuts and like up close. Like I want to pull back. Like I want to
They
see
do
it.
some pulling back.
They do. It's not bad.
There's
It's
a
good,
line. There's a
but
scene where like you can
I don't-
tell that Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor actually trained.
No, you're right.
And
Like,
does
I'm
like
not
the
saying it's
behind
bad.
the back spin that Anakin always does,
Yeah.
and then they.
I just like when I think about. I still think about the one like the Duel of the Fates. That's the one that just sticks out in my mind as.
But we
as
get
my
the
favorite
Duel
one.
of the Fates in this.
Yeah.
It kicks up. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, gets me so there. So. I'm trying to calm down. Yeah.
You going to the completion?
I don't want to make it weird.
I think the moment this fight kind of falls apart is when they do their like jump kick thing. Like
Oh, the drop kick on the table?
yeah, like it's just what are you doing? Stop. Like
they
that's
start
not
to
a move.
destroy the volcano
And he does
planet.
it twice
That's
too.
not the move.
I think like one time would be fine, but he
They're
tries
angry.
it twice, back to back, and I'm just like,
This
all
is
right.
an emotional fight. They're angry.
I'm not saying it's a bad fight. I'm just saying this isn't the one that like stands out in my mind
just
as like
love
the
how-
best of the series.
You know you already gave it the medal, and you have to double down.
Right.
Yeah. I just love how Ewan and Hayden, like they trained on this fight for like 2 months before they filmed it. And so the quickness and the speed and the aggressiveness that they're showing is like not sped up at all. Like that's the actual speed that they're doing on camera. Like they didn't have to do any like you know, a lot of action movies will like slightly speed things up to make things more crazy. No, that's
They'll
just,
watch it on 1.5 speed.
yeah, like Phil. No, I love this. I love how personal it is. I love how
It's good, yeah.
I love the idea that Obi-Wan's not the best swordsman. Anakin is like at the height of his power, but because they know each other so well, Obi-Wan trained him. They're brothers. Like they are like Obi-Wan is the most perfect person to fight him in this moment because like he knows all his tricks and they know there's that part where they're like spinning sabers at each other and it can't, I can see where someone can think it's silly, but to me, I'm like, dude, they're just on the same fucking wavelength to the point where they just know the moves. Like, and I love how that kind of comes across in that.
It's one of the few things in these three movies that works perfect for me. Like it's, like I said, from the point of Anakin's turn after Windu dies, everything really works for me. And it's intercut with Yoda walking into the chamber where Palpatine is. And he's just like already into the bureaucratic duties. And there's that guy that's like, I'm going to get out of here. I love the part where Palpatine turns without turning, like moving his neck. So it's like,
he looks like Michael Keaton from Batman.
So funny. Yeah. And Yoda's gangster as fuck. He just flick of his wrist kills the two guards, but then falls prey to the lightning fingers immediately.
That an end your rule is. Not short enough it was.
But there's a great fight between Palpatine and Yoda. And, you know, I love the whole battle scene in the Senate chamber and stuff where they're throwing seats at each other and shit.
So going into episode 3, I talked about how I was so looking forward to the fight on the volcanic planet on Mustafar with Obi-Wan and Anakin. Never in my wildest dreams did I even conceive that the Emperor and Yoda would have a lightsaber fight, and it's in the fucking Senate room.
Yeah.
That's cool. So cool. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's great. And then they end up having a force battle and shit. And it's not so much that Yoda loses, but he's unable to beat him. Like it's kind of a draw. And after this fight, Sidious is like, Vader's in trouble. Oh no. And we laughed about it before we started recording, but I do think it's hilarious that Yoda's like, he gets in, was it Organa?
Bail Organa.
He drops into the chair there and he's like, I failed, I have. Into exile, I must go. And it's like, or you could help for the next 20 years, you fucking piece of shit.
Nope. Nope. Mm-mm. Start a blog post, I must.
Many followers I will have. He becomes an influencer from Dagobah.
Get ready with me. Put on his cloak each day. Go get a bucket of slop from the swamp.
Can't wait till Luke shows up with snacks.
Throwback Thursday. Remember when I taught younglings?
Hashtag Man Crush Monday. So we cut back to the boys. They're standing on like the boys lava floaties.
This is a part I like the most.
It's good. It's good. It's good. It's really scary. Like when Anakin jumps from his tiny floaty to
Obi-Wan's slightly larger floaty.
And he like kind of like leans back.
It's
like
scary because like Anakin's there and like you feel the danger of like there's lava and this super powerful Sith that's it.
They're all sweaty and they have like some lava burns on their outfits.
Yeah. And I love when they drive by the lava janitors too, who are like, huh? Like, what are those guys doing? What is their job?
They're mining lava.
Sweeping up the lava.
The planet Mustafar has one export.
Bananas.
And then we get the iconic, it's over, Anakin. I have the high ground. It's true. His ground is higher.
Morally and physically.
Ooh. And then, it's the whole thing happens where he tries
Don't try it.
You underestimate my power.
He's arrogant. And he cuts off all 3 of his remaining organic limbs.
Yes.
And then he falls down. And
dude, I almost
dips into the lava and catches on fire.
I almost dip into tears every time when Obi-Wan goes, "You were the chosen one," and just goes into that little bit because it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, he's so upset.
Yeah,
that how did we get here?
And then you see Anakin, like his eyes, like ow. He just that's how his face looks, and then he just goes, "I hate you."
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
Hayden Christensen is good in this movie.
Yeah, he's a good actor. He has the misfortune of being directed by George Lucas in what is arguably his biggest opportunity to this point, ever, but especially at this point in his career. And it's just sad that it's George Lucas directing him into this.
Yeah.
Because Natalie Portman at least had the cachet to be like, I was in good movies before Star Wars
and after,
and specifically before Star Wars, so people could be like, well, I'm not going to judge you on Star Wars. I know
she was still only 19. Right. I mean, she was only in a couple movies before,
right? But Hayden Christensen wasn't really.
Yeah,
like no one knew who he was. This was his like breakout thing, but I think that ruined his career in a lot of ways because people are like, oh, the guy from the prequels.
Well, no, he did Jumper.
Oh, who could forget Jumper?
I actually like Jumper.
I watched watched Jumper recently, and I was like, this movie's bad, but I like it.
Yeah, it's fun. Kristen Stewart's in the end.
And Samuel Jackson's.
Why'd you pick me?
too.
Because of course you like it. Now I know
saying.
why you like it.
Just saying. And Sam Jackson's in it. Yeah, Mace Windu's in there. But yeah, the Obi-Wan, the C3 was like, we took Padme and put her on the boat.
I would have loved to have seen that.
And just drag.
I imagine it's like, you know that little suction cup
Yeah,
that R2 shot
yes.
C3PO with and Attack of the Clones? He just did that to Padme's forehead and
No,
just pulled her up.
right to her pregnant belly.
She didn't lose the will to live. R2 just dragged her into the ship, causing more damage to her body.
We don't know why she's dying, and then you just cut to R2 like,
That's weird. Yeah, and then Kenobi's like, yeah, Padme, Anakin's doing great.
he's fine.
It's good.
He's gonna walk it off.
And then we get Palpatine gets Anakin, and Padme goes to Organa and Yoda. They take her to the hospital. The guy's like, for reasons we can't explain, she's perfectly fine, but she's dying. She's gone.
This is so stupid.
Where did you get your medical degree in poetry? It's one of my favorite lines from Robot Chicken.
Yeah.
We're losing her, and then we get and twins.
And twins.
Apparently, she didn't have a what's it called?
An ultrasound.
Yes, I almost said sonar.
You were the only guy with kids.
I'm not a doctor. I'm a father. And they rebuilt Anakin quickly.
Sorry, when we were watching this, I was watching this Erica, and the Uba droid pops up, and I'm like, did they do that when you had your kids? And she's like, sadly, no, it would have been better.
Uba. It's like a Pokemon.
Yeah.
And Padme's last words, I think, are "There's good in him," telling Kenobi about
I know.
Anakin.
There's good in him.
And Anakin's already become full Vader action. He's born, like right over the still pustule. He's still wounded from the flames, and they're just putting the shit on him. That's gotta sting.
Question for you guys: did you watch the Disney Plus Blues version?
Yes.
I did.
Did he have his hands up or down?
Down.
Down.
I don't recall.
Because my DVD had them down, but I know there was a cut where they put them up.
The trailers for this movie, his hands are up. But in the final movie, they're down.
They are down because he pulls them off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's born.
But I love the juxtaposition of like, as Padme dies, so does Anakin Skywalker. He's becoming Darth Vader. As the twins are being born, Darth Vader is being born. It's kind of a nice parallel that's going on.
The balance in the Force.
Yeah. And then Palpatine tells Anakin, like, it seems in your anger, you killed her.
You're going to be so sad.
And he's like, yeah.
Yay! No. But it is funny how he does the unfortunately iconic no, and you just see Palpatine like, good one, me. Tricked him.
Next time you say that, I'll be dying. And then, he Yoda tells Kenobi, while you're on the desert, teach you how to zoom Qui-Gon, I will. And but you have to pay $25 a month, or you can only talk for 45 minutes.
Yeah, so Qui-Gon canonically, I guess, invents the Force Ghost. I don't know.
Yeah. And then we also get Organa wipes the C-3PO, the protocol droid's mind. So that explains all of the next movies.
Yeah, we
But
get like a
wipe R2 though.
Yeah. No.
Well, he only beeps and boops.
Right. Yeah, but he could talk to 3PO though.
That's true.
And
R2's not a snitch.
That's why he's always like,
That's
what are
true,
you
yeah.
talking about, R2?
R2's not a snitch.
He's
not a
definitely
snitch.
not.
No.
Yeah, but then we get a bunch of scenes where, Leia goes with the Organas on Alderaan. Luke goes back to the Lars family.
With his family, he must go.
family. Palpatine and Darth Vader watch the Death Star being built.
Tarkin's there for a hot second.
Yeah, Tarkin's there for a hot second. He bows out. And then, that's the end of Revenge of the Sith.
I love this last scene because he gives Luke to Beru, but Owen Lars is like up on the sand dune. Like he can't be bothered with the baby exchange.
He's farming moisture.
He's farming the moisture, man.
Yeah.
He
what
looks
they
at
say
that
I
baby.
do.
He's like, oh, finally, someone to help on the farm. Can this baby work today?
Yeah.
And
He's going to Tashi Station.
We do see. I do want to point this out real quick. We get the funeral scene for Padme on Naboo, and I do think that scene's very beautiful. Like
Because Boss Nass is there.
Boss Nass is there. We see Jar Jar. We see
That's his
Padme's.
eulogy.
Misa thought she was a bomb bad woman. Dead.
I'm bad bitch. That's what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
But we also see Padme's parents briefly.
She still was 100%. Oh, sorry.
And she still has the little trinket that Anakin made her from episode 1.
Yeah, they brought that back.
Yep. Very sad. But that's the end. Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
So real quick, the medal ceremony. What are you going to give this movie that this movie does better than any other film in the franchise, Phil?
Justify the prequels. It does the heavy lifting of carrying 2 other bad films and making them retroactively worth watching.
Steve?
Lightsaber fight. The Obi-Wan Anakin lightsaber fight is my favorite lightsaber fight in the entire series.
I'm going to go best use of lava.
Ooh. There's a lot of lava in all the movies. So
Yes.
that's a big, huge achievement.
Best use of lava, for sure.
Good.
And now, let's rank the films. So I think this is going to be interesting. I wanted to rush to this part because we're running out of time, but we really got to do this just to catch all of our listeners up on the 5 films that we've watched so far, where they're at. At number 1 is Empire. Number 2 is Star Wars A New Hope. Number 3 is Return of the Jedi. Number 4 is Phantom Menace, and number 5 is Attack of the Clones.
Yes.
Where are we going to stick Revenge of the Sith, guys? I posit, hot take maybe.
Ooh, here we go.
We put it at number 2.
I was going to say 3.
Interesting.
Oh, you're going to put it below A New Hope.
Yes.
Okay.
My gut tells me to put it at number 3 as well. But I'm not against putting it above A New Hope.
Yeah.
I could be convinced to put it above A New Hope, but the problem is A New Hope is so critical to like the series existing, just by virtue of it being like a contained
first one.
story. It's the first one. It's what kicked all this off. It's hard for me to be like, many of these movies are better than that one. So give me some convincing.
I don't think that's a good way to think about it.
Okay.
Because it's like, if you take that logic, then like Flash Gordon, the TV show, is canonically up there because none of this would exist without it, right? But it's like it's not very good, even though it did.
I disagree. I think it's a good movie.
I meant Flash Gordon.
Oh, sorry.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, if you use that to lend extra weight,
But I think it makes sense in the context of Star Wars
of a
though.
ranking.
Like, because you're ranking the like how good these movies are, and I think the importance of these movies as well within
Is relevant.
themselves. So
I just had a thought. I'm going to argue to put it in 3 because this is my thought in that where Star Wars A New Hope works in a vacuum by itself.
Yes.
Whereas all the big moments from episode 3, I think, are contingent on all the other movies.
Yes.
And it's doing so much to be like, I mean, it's even doing like, remember A New Hope? And like the prequels are kind of, it's making the prequels better, but I do think there is a little bit of a, it doesn't stand alone by itself, whereas A New Hope does stand
if
up
you were
on
to
its
watch
own.
episode 3 without any other Star Wars films, I don't think it would have a tenth of the impact that it does for people who have gone through all.
Well,
PS5 at that
sure, but that's, you know, how sequels work, you know, like it's the first one. That's the only way. It's the reason it does that. And it's hard for me to even imagine that because I'd never watched A New Hope in a vacuum. I wasn't alive in 1977. I know you guys weren't either, but I'm not even positive that was the first Star Wars movie I'd ever seen. I really feel like Phantom Menace was. So, you know what I mean? Like we don't have New Hope in a vacuum experience. Like it's like it was always all there. It was always Yoda on a lunchbox around us as we were growing up. But that's fair. I will concede to number 3 with official streaming things ranking thus far being Empire, A New Hope, Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones at the bottom is currently where we stand. Going into Force Awakens territory next week.
Sequel trilogy.
Yeah, baby. Well, you want to quickly round this episode out with the story of the Mad
Let's
Libs?
do it. What did we create?
Okay, so the title of today's Mad Libs is Dressing as Darth Vader.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. Ever since he was lustily burned on the Mustafar lust system,
That makes sense.
losing his nipples and his balls, Darth Vader has been more machine than rope. And each day he must don a wet suit of armor in order to survive. First,
Ride that thing out, buddy.
yeah, right? First, Darth Vader must wear a black leather cushion that covers his entire soft body. Next, he puts on a long, sticky cape around his neck and covers his pubes. Covers his pubes with a pair of lips.
We are 13.
Finally, he must always have a thrusting mask over his face and a squishy helmet on top of his cheek.
Well, that kind of works.
It works.
If all of that wasn't moist enough,
Dude, this is the most sense we've ever made.
Darth Vader can only remove his erotic gear in a serendipitous chamber filled with pressurized chains. And you thought it was dirty getting dressed every morning.
He lost his nipples and his balls.
He covers his pubes with lips.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Tune in next week to hear us talk about A Force Awakens. And later this week, what are we talking about?
Oh, we're talking about Dark Harvest.
That's right.
We're talking about Gremlins 2, the new batch.
The new batch.
Ooh, I'm going to watch that one.
Darn tootin' you are. And then tune in to patreon.com/streaming things to listen to our review of A Quiet Place and whatever we're doing in April. That's all the time we've got for right now. We've got to go return some videotapes to Mustafar. My name is Kid.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Steve.
And this is Streaming Things. Happy streaming.